Times change, and we change with them. With the great changes of the past few years, the farmer has come to depend more and more on the payments which he has received for his woods products. He now recognizes the importance of trees as crops. In the schools, a new generation of farmers is learning that there is money in trees, learning how to take better care of trees in order to get more money out of them, learning how the pines of the South can be made to bring prosperity. The income from woods products puts them in the top ranks of Southern farm crops. The markets for woods products are numerous and increasing. A generation ago, it was thought that paper could not be made from southern pines. Now, to each of the many pulp and paper mills which have been built in the South, enormous quantities of pine pulpwood are hauled every day. Some goes by trucks, direct from the woods to the mill. From more distant places, it is brought to railroads, which carry it to the mill. From still other places, it is brought in by barges. After the wood reaches the mill, it is churned through huge revolving drums to remove the bark. Stripped of bark, it falls onto an endless conveyor, which carries it into the mill, where a giant chipping machine cuts it to bits in a few seconds, after which the chips are run over shaker screens to get just the right sizes for making pulp. In this great storage pile, only 10 days' output of a large mill, there are 6,400 tons of pulp. Great as is the demand for pulpwood, even more wood is needed for saw logs. The lumber industry, the first industry to be developed in the New World, is still going strong. It consumes a large part of our forest output for making boards and other products to fill the 1,001 everyday needs of man. Another market for woods products is that for poles and piling. One has only to think of the countless number of telephone, telegraph, and power line poles which carry the millions of miles of communication and transmission wires in the country to realize that there is a great use for woods products, both for new lines and for replacements. In many places, certain kinds of pine trees, which later will be cut for pulpwood or for timber, provide farmers an income from turpentining. Everyone is familiar with the stills, where the crude gum from the pines of the South is refined to turpentine and rosin, where the picturesque charge of rosin steams forth into vats covered with strainers to remove the dirt, needles, and twigs, and is then ladled into barrels. Less familiar is the modern still, where the rosin flows from the vats into 5-ply craft paper bags made from pine, each holding exactly 100 pounds. Each bag is sealed by stitching on a specially designed sewing machine. Cross ties, barrel staves, laths, and box shooks are a few of the many other common uses which maintain the market for the pines of the southern farmer, while the use of wood for making rayon is an example of the prospects for an ever-widening market. But it is not alone from the sale of his woodland products that the farmer profits. He profits from the direct use which he has for them in everyday life on the farm. The fire in the kitchen stove and in the fireplace would cost the farmer real money if he had to buy the fuel. from the wood on his own land, he can make the shingles to repair his roof or to build a new one. Or he may fashion the logs with which to build a fine new tobacco barn to help add to his income from another crop. And he can cut the fuel with which to feed the fires that cure the tobacco, or the posts with which to fence his fields and woods. With such splendid opportunities for getting an income and for saving expenses through the proper management of his woods, it is not surprising that the farmer is seeking ways to increase his crop of trees, and that he has found the first and most important way to do this is to keep fire out of his woods. For fire is the greatest destroyer of profit from trees. Let's go out in the woods and see what happens when they're burned. See just why it is that the fire is burning forest dollars. In the first place, to say nothing of the hidden seeds, there are the baby seedlings, so tiny that one can hardly see them. They are the forest's future. Without them, the woods are doomed to pass away. The flames which burn the cover of the forest floor are devouring future profits, leaving in their place ashes of poverty. These seedlings, in an area which has been protected several years, have gotten a fine start. If by chance fire occurs where the seedlings are larger, it often snuffs out their life. This sets at naught still more of the work which nature has done to help the farmer to get more profit from his woodland crop. One has only to compare lands which have been burned with those which have been protected from fire to see the tremendous loss which results from burning woods. Here, the seeds from the few scattered large trees have never had a chance because the land has been burned every year. Here, on the other hand, is a similar tract on which the seeds from the large trees have been given a chance to grow into thriving young trees by protecting the land from fires. But this is not all. Fire injures and sometimes kills the larger trees. The injured trees, like injured people, consume their strength in the struggle to get well. Their growth is slowed up for years. Fire, moreover, sets the stage for insects to attack trees. When such trees are brought to a lumber mill, the damage which fires have done to their butts causes a serious loss to the farmer, for it is damage to the most valuable part of the tree. Often, when such trees are felled, they are jump butted, the damaged portions not even being sent to the mill. It means a serious loss. Here is a pile of 57 such butts. If they had not been damaged by fire, they would have made enough lumber to build a small farmhouse. Examine the end of one of the butts. It tells the story of the terrific havoc fire has wrought. At the pulp mill, to which the farmer hauls his pulpwood, a similar loss is in store for him if he has brought in any charred logs. The inspector measures the load, spots the burned logs, and refuses to accept them. To the young farmer, who may not be familiar with pulpwood requirements, the inspector hands a copy of the specifications, which say that charred logs will be rejected. Foreign material in gum from burned faces may degrade the rosin 1 to 3 grades, causing another cash loss to the farmer. The wise farmer values his tree crop and uses every precaution to prevent woods fires. If, for example, he wishes to clear new ground for pasture or for other crops, he piles the brush and debris a safe distance from the woods and plows a fire break next to the woods before he burns the brush. He also stations men along the edge of the woods to make sure that with shifting wind, no sparks or embers will set fire to the woods. He lets his neighbors and the local fire warden know that he intends to burn the brush, and where the law requires, he obtains a permit from the proper authorities. The farmer knows that plowing a fire break is good insurance. It is something that he can do before a possible fire breaks out, something which may save him from great loss. This farmer, for example, is plowing a 12-foot fire break along his fence. In this case, the protected area is an abandoned field in which natural slash pine trees are getting a good start and may be seen above the sedge grass. Other farmers have found that effective fire breaks can be made by plowing strips and planting them to carpet grass. The carpet grass keeps out wiregrass, bushes, and other hazardous growths, and at the same time provides good pasturage for cattle. If, in spite of all precautions, a fire breaks out, every minute counts in getting to it. This farmer, while plowing, sees smoke coming from his woods. There is no organized protection established here, and he must act for himself. Calling to his 2 sons who are hoeing in a nearby field, he runs to the fire. Fortunately, they reach the fire while it is still small. The 3 of them fight the fire and fight it for what it is, a dangerous enemy. By prompt action and efficient firefighting, they have prevented what might have been a serious loss. They have fought well, so well, in fact, that when neighbors arrive to help, only the mopping up is left to be done. Neighbors help each other fight fires not only because of goodwill, but also because they're fighting in a common cause. Every farmer knows that someday he may need his neighbor's help. This community of interests is leading farmers and woods owners in many parts of the South to join together to cooperate with county, state, and federal agencies in setting up organized fire detection and firefighting units. To keep losses at a minimum, means must be provided to locate fires when they start. Tall towers are erected from which watchmen constantly scan the woods to detect the first sign of fire. The watchman in one tower sighting a fire telephones its direction from his tower to a central dispatcher, who also gets its direction by telephone from another tower. In the dispatcher's office is a large map with strings hanging from the locations of the towers. By stretching the strings from the 2 towers in the directions given by the watchman, the dispatcher finds the location of the fire at the point where the strings cross. He then communicates with a fire truck crew, in this particular case by radio, and the crew hastens to the fire. At the scene of the fire, the trained crew, with modern tools and equipment, quickly gets into action. The methods used in putting out fires depend on the conditions the fighters find when they reach the scene. In this case, some of the men are beating the fire with fire swatters. Others are using streams of water from backpack pumps, which have double nozzles that will throw either a full stream or a fine spray to beat down the fire. Still other men are handling the long hose, which comes from the motor-driven pump and large water tank on the truck. A most effective way of fighting fires in places where it is possible to get the truck near the fire. Due to its advantages, many sections of the South have organized protection. Besides the national forests, the black areas on the map, more than 1/3 of the private forests are being given protection by local state forestry organizations, using funds supplied by landowners, counties, state appropriations, and the federal government under the provisions of the Clark-McNary bill. They are the gray areas on the map. The remaining private forest lands shown in white still lack protection. But even where the State Forestry Organization has trained men and modern equipment for detecting and fighting fires, it is necessary for local farmers and woods owners to give their wholehearted cooperation. First, in preventing fires from starting. Second, in helping to fight them. And third, in helping enforce local fire laws. It was a proud moment for this farmer when he was selected by the state forester as a volunteer fire guard, and the district forester drove up in a fire truck to present him with an honorary fire warden certificate. A proud moment, too, for his dear old mother. Over 16,000 southern farmers have received such state appointments and have pledged themselves to protect their own woods and, if necessary, give voluntary help to their neighbors and to the State Fire Protection Organization. The great reward for keeping fires out of woods comes in the increasing welfare of the farmer and of the community. Throughout the entire South, pines grow very rapidly. Their values increase like money at compound interest. And as their values increase, the farms become more valuable and the owners more prosperous. When the farmer markets his woods products, he is profiting from the years of protection which have made them saleable. He is cashing in on good judgment, benefiting himself, his family, and the whole community. Perhaps on a day when he is to be paid for a week's deliveries of pulpwood, he takes his wife to town with him on the truck. After unloading his truck, he returns to the office at the entrance to the yard and receives his check. After going to the bank to deposit part of the money, they stop at a store where the wife buys needed supplies. Thus the pines, which bring income to the farmer, supply raw materials to mills that pay wages to large numbers of men, and directly or indirectly help everyone in the community. So it is that to the farmer, fire-protected woods increase the value and the income of his farm. They will help him do the things he longs to do. These little trees are growing wealth. They may mean a college education and opportunity for the child. They may mean security for the farmer and his wife in their later years. They are the children of trees, and their growth brings happiness. To protect woods from fires is the most important of the pine ways to profit.
And then the film just ends. What a great film, though. I have a couple that deal with trees and their contributing to the economy. One called Trees for Tomorrow and one called Tree Bank, and then some others, I'm sure. But hi, everybody. I'm Skip Alzheimer of AV Geeks. I collect old 16mm films. I have over 27,000. And I am at home, not at the archive. There was a tree on my archive yesterday that fell, that was removed by a giant robotic crane that had a chainsaw on it. it was glorious. It was really phenomenal to watch from a distance. The whole technology. It's very expensive, but thanks for insurance. Anyhow, so I'm here, and it's lunchtime, and I'm going to show you some 16 millimeter educational films from my collection. For those of you that joined us yesterday, we had Kayla Janice from Canada, who knows a lot about these educational films. She and I have been friends for quite a while, over 20 years, and she has written and done research on some of the films that I've shown over the years. And so I let her pick 3 films that she kind of delved deep into and talked about yesterday, which was fascinating, but was incredibly depressing. And so I apologize for that. I think in hindsight, what I will probably do is the subject matter that is kind of not light and lunch-like. I might do those as evening shows. I'm already doing that with Hunt Library, which is at NC State locally, doing a monthly show with them with an expert that we do in the evening. And so that might be something I might continue to do, these more in-depth, deeper, darker things that are not so light. We want to try to keep it light for lunch. That's kind of part of the deal. So yesterday was all kids in comas and dying and falling into some sort of schizophrenic coma. So we're going to buoy it up a little bit. And I had actually prepared some light stuff to show yesterday, but it was already too late. Everybody was too demoralized to stick around. So this next film answers some questions. So we actually have, surprisingly, I have 3 films that answer questions. And so this next one answers the question that clueless high school boys have, which is what to do on a date. Enjoy.
It begins with Jeff and Kay and Nick. Of course, you may not have a problem about what to do on a date, but Nick, well, he has a real dating problem. If he took Kay out on a date, what would they do? Where would they go?
Just a minute, Jeff. I'll get my tennis racket.
Okay, Nick, but hurry. Hey, what about asking Kay to come to the community center with us on Friday to fix up that scavenger sale? We could make it a double date.
What?
You heard what I said.
That's no place to take a girl on a date, helping to fix up the scavenger sale. Is it?
Why not?
On a first date?
First date?
Yeah. Well, Kay's a swell girl. I was thinking of calling her. Maybe ask her to the show Friday. Good picture, wagon train.
Well, hurry up and call her and let's get going. I still have to get my things yet.
Call her now?
Sure. You know the number, don't you?
Okay. What if she says no?
Hello?
Oh, hello, Kay. This is Nick Baxter.
Oh, hello, Nick. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Say, Kay, next Friday, would you like to see Wagon Train at the movies?
Oh, I'm sorry, Nick. I've already seen Wagon Train. I suppose you've got your mind made up to see it?
You've seen it? She's already seen it.
Well, ask her about the scavenger sale. Go ahead.
Kay, you wouldn't want to help get the scavenger sale ready at the community center, would you?
Oh, I've been hearing about that. Yes, I'd like to very much.
You would? All right. I'll call for you then. About 7? Bye. I sure didn't think she'd go to a place like that for a date. Where's my racket? Oh, ready?
You know, you better think some more, fellow, about what to do on a date.
Do you think she'll have a good time? What do you suppose I'll have to do? You know who all's gonna
Now, you may not have thought of this sort of thing as a place to take a date, but it looks like it could be fun. A group doing things together. Pretty good idea for a first date. Plenty to do, plenty of people to talk to. But let's see if Nick and Kay are enjoying it.
No amount of else can make this thing look any older.
Boy, that is an old-timer.
Hey, Nick, can you help me put this sign up?
Oh, sure.
I can't quite reach that far.
How's this?
That's about right.
Thanks. Say, Kay, are you really having a good time?
Of course I am. I'm glad you thought of coming here.
So am I. I mean, yes, it was a good idea.
Okay. How about helping with refreshments for the gang?
All right. See you later.
Oh, yeah, oh, sure. Got any more tacks?
I think they're over there by the door.
Yes, it was a good idea to come here. How does Jeff get ideas like that? Hey, what's this? Maybe this is where Jeff gets ideas. A list of coming activities. A bike trip. That could be a lot of fun. A chance to do things with a group, to get acquainted. It does look like a good time, if your partner likes it. Would Kay enjoy a bike trip? Or a weenie roast? Another group date. A chance to learn the give and take of working and playing together. Not much arranging needed, not much expense, and that can be important. Could be a fine date, if Kay would like it. Wonder if she'd like to go to a baseball game. A date that's not too involved, one you can carry through comfortably. And there are all sorts of other sports events, inexpensive dates, most of them. Swimming meets, for example. You can find many good ideas for dates. Dates that give you a good chance to get acquainted. And dates that you don't have to worry too much about in advance. It was a good deal coming here tonight, double dating with Jeff and Phyllis. When all four are good friends and enjoy the same things, double dates can be lots of fun. Or you can ask Kay to go on dates with you alone, if you plan for what she enjoys.
Hey, you loafer. What are you doing over there?
You're right there.
Fine thing. As soon as Kay isn't around to size, you go off on a vacation.
You know, Maestro, I don't think your date ideas are so original.
What?
About what to do on a date, I mean. But what I'd like to know is, how can you figure out what a girl would like to do? A certain girl, I mean.
Well, you might ask her.
Yeah, Nick's looking for you. Is he good company? He always seems so quiet.
We get along all right. He's got a good sense of humor, and we haven't run out of things to say yet.
He's kind of cute. You gonna date him again?
I don't know. Besides, he hasn't asked me. George, get out of there.
I'm hungry.
If you want to do something, take the Cokes out there.
Okay, come on, here you go.
All set?
I think so. Come and get it, everybody.
Come on, we eat. Let's go.
Eat at your own grip.
Hi, stranger.
I decided to come out of hiding.
Say, this looks good. You make the sandwiches?
Larry will get Tito plate.
Uh-huh.
Boy, this one's for lunch. Where should we go? Drive.
How about over here?
Oh, fine.
Your table, madame.
Thank you, sir. This is fun, isn't it?
Yeah. You sure you like to do things like this?
Sure.
I thought all girls wanted fellas to take them to fancy places, spend lots of money.
Not this girl.
You know, I sort of like things like this, too. You won't laugh. I like to go on bicycle trips, too. Do you?
And miniature golf. You like that?
Yeah, and weenie roasts and square dances.
And baseball games and taffy pull. I think they're swell.
Say, you like to do lots of things, don't you? Say, Kay, next Friday there's going to be a weenie roast, or there'll be a bowling party if you'd rather do that. Or we could go to the band concert.
Oh, I'd enjoy going to the weenie roast very much. Unless you'd rather go bowling.
No, I'd rather go to the weenie roast. If Jeff goes with Phyllis, we could double date with them.
Hey, Nick, hey, come on, we're gonna break open the ice cream.
Okay, be right there. Is it all right then, about Friday?
Yes, Nick. It's a date.
Yes, there are lots of things to do on dates. If you know how to look for them, if you plan them with the other person in mind, and if you really try to make sure each date's a good time. If you do these things, you'll know what to do on your date.
Such a great film. It kind of makes you realize how absolutely clueless dudes are. There's a kind of a companion film to this. Well, there's a couple, but there's another one called More Dates for Kay, and I might show that tomorrow. It's outrageous because it's a different Kay, first of all, but it basically shows this girl positioning herself at school to get as many dates as possible, and dates being like going to clean up at a party or going to do this or going to do that. And it's outrageous. It's really, especially considering there's another film that came out around the same time called Are You Popular, which talks about dating, but not dating too much. And so you have this weird situation where Kay is really, literally, you're showing almost every example of her scoping out and targeting boys to date. It's a real interesting thing. But it's a very different take than what this film has, which is the boys. One guy is just clueless. He's just like, I don't know what to do. And the guys in More Dates for Kay are also clueless. So. All right, so we have more questions to answer, and this one is a more contemporary film, and this answers the question, why did the Beetle cross the road?
Black Beetle, B-E-A-T B-E-E-T-L-E. Belonging to the order Coleopterus, as you recall, we ended our class last week with that age-old question. Why'd the beetle cross the road? You were each to think about that question and be prepared for a discussion of that matter. So, who would like to start off that discussion? We have given this some thought, haven't we? Dolores?
Huh?
Why'd the beetle cross the road, Dolores?
Why'd the,
Beetle.
Beetle? Yeah. Why'd the beetle cross the road?
Mm-hmm. Dolores, we're waiting.
To be with his girlfriend?
To be with his girlfriend?
I know that some of you were happy to see that no Beetle was squished in the making of this film, and that there's a sequel. All right, goofy film from 1984. The teacher looks familiar. I might want to look him up and kind of see who he is. All right, so we answered questions on what to do on a date. Why did the Beetle cross the road? It's lunchtime, so it's time to have something that's a little bit about food. We didn't have a food film yesterday because we were eating on human misery. So here's Why Eat Our Vegetables.
One day, when Miss Blake and her class were trying to answer the question, why eat our vegetables, she decided to read them a story. It was an adventure story about a family. Once there were two children, Bobby and Cynthia Jorgensen. They were children who enjoyed their meals, but they didn't much care for vegetables. Sometime later, on a vacation trip across the ocean, the Jorgensen family escaped from a shipwreck. All the people escaped in lifeboats. After many days at sea, the Jorgensens steered their lifeboat to a deserted island. Here, they would have to live for a while. The family had been lucky enough to save a few of the things they would need. They hadn't much. A few tools, and some cans of food, meat, powdered milk, and biscuits. The family believed that they had enough food to last them several months. And they did. Still, as the months passed, the Jorgensens did not feel well. What was the matter? They had enough food, meat, bread, and milk. But they had no vegetables. And without vegetables, the family did not feel healthy. But luckily, they were rescued. Soon after, the Jorgensens were given a tasty meal by the ship's captain. There was some meat, and best of all, plenty of vegetables. And the Jorgensen children found that the string beans and corn and tomatoes and lettuce had a wonderful taste. Vegetables, the captain told them, would help give the Jorgensens the vitamins and minerals their bodies needed to grow healthy again. Yes, after many months without vegetables, both Cynthia and Bobby came to know how important vegetables are to good health. After the story was over, Miss Blake asked her class if they could think of vegetables the Jorgensens didn't have on the desert island. Paul thought of one vegetable, lettuce. Paul knew about this vegetable because he sometimes helps his father in the garden back of their house. Last year, they grew some lettuce from seeds. Seeds just like these. A few weeks after the seeds were planted, they had lettuce growing. What we eat are actually the leaves of lettuce plants. Paul and his father grew other vegetable plants in their garden. Vegetables whose leaves are good for us to eat. Cabbage was one. Spinach was another. So, Paul thought the family in the story didn't have the leaves of the different vegetable plants we eat. The leaves of such plants as cabbage, spinach, and lettuce. This idea of leaves started Sally thinking. She tried to picture in her mind the many, many vegetables she had seen in that roadside stand she had visited with her mother last summer. Sally remembered that Mother had bought vegetables whose leaves are good for us to eat. And Mother had bought other vegetables that are good for us to eat. Asparagus was one, and rhubarb was another. And potatoes, which are a certain kind of underground stem, were still another. Sally was right. Asparagus and rhubarb are stems of two vegetable plants we eat. Could anyone think of other kinds of vegetables? George thought he could. He told about the time he had visited his cousin's farm. Among the vegetables George had seen there were carrot plants. The part of the carrot plant used for food grows under the ground. It is actually the root of the carrot plant. Other vegetable plants had roots used for food. Beets, for instance, are roots, and so are turnips, and parsnips, and sweet potatoes. These were just a few of the many root vegetables George could think of. The names of these root vegetables were added to the list. Were there any other vegetables that would have helped the shipwreck family keep well and healthy? Alice thought there were. Most of the vegetables they had named are usually grown from seeds. Beans, for example, are the seeds of bean plants and are also eaten as vegetables. Then certain seed vegetables, such as beans and peas and the kernels of sweet corn, are all seed vegetables that the family in the story did not have on their desert island. There was certainly quite a list of vegetables. All the vegetables named come from plants, some from the leaves of plants, some from the stems of plants, some from the roots of plants, and some from the seeds of plants. Miss Blake then read something the school doctor had written to her class. Doctors, he wrote, know that properly cooked vegetables give our bodies certain things that are needed for good health. Vegetables contain vitamins and minerals. Of course, we can't see the vitamins and minerals in vegetables, but we know they are there. As we eat vegetables, their vitamins and minerals help our bodies grow strong and healthy. We help build strong and healthy teeth and gums when we eat raw vegetables. Raw vegetables such as carrots, celery, radishes, and cucumbers have a clean, fresh taste, which most of us enjoy. Because raw vegetables must be chewed well, our teeth and gums get the exercise that helps them stay healthy. When we remember how vegetables help our bodies, we can understand why doctors say that we should eat 1 serving of potatoes every day, 1 serving of a vegetable such as tomatoes, and at least 1 serving of a leafy green vegetable such as lettuce. By eating such vegetables, we get the vitamins and minerals they contain, which help us to have more energy for work and play. They help us to be more energetic and happier in the things we do. Vitamins and minerals also help us to have stronger and better bones. These are some of the ways vitamins and minerals from vegetables help us stay healthy. Yes, vegetables can help us keep healthy. And we are fortunate to have many, many different kinds of vegetables to eat. Among the many vegetables we have, there are sure to be some that each one of us will like. Where do these vegetables come from? Paul knew that most vegetables are grown on farms. After the vegetables are harvested, some are sold within hours at roadside stands or neighborhood markets, country fresh and delicious. Other vegetables are sent in trucks and railroad cars to cities and towns, where they're sold in groceries and supermarkets. Still other vegetables are quick frozen or canned, so that we may eat them during all seasons of the year. So we may have many different kinds of vegetables every day. Vegetables that are good for us. Because vegetables help keep our bodies strong and healthy. And those are the reasons Miss Blake's class discovered why it is so important that we eat our vegetables.
Vegetables. It's just like protein, somebody noticed. We get to learn different pronunciations and perhaps correct pronunciations of some of the words that we think that we know. Such a great film. And somebody noticed that this was not brought to us by the National Dairy Council, which I said a couple of days ago pretty much were the ones that were talking about nutrition and about the 4 food groups or 5 food groups or 2 food groups. No, this one is Coronet Films, and this was not sponsored by anybody. All right, so among my collection of educational films and industrial films and sponsored films, I have a bunch of TV trailers. One of the reasons I like collecting 16 millimeter is that there's so many different things that were made for 16 millimeter because I think it was a versatile film format. It was not that difficult to duplicate. It was not that difficult to shoot. Television stations before videotape was popular would use 16 millimeter, so it was a lot of commercials, a lot of TV shows that were in syndication were distributed. People shot home movies on 16 millimeter. Lots of student art films were shot on 16. A lot of course, educational films were shot on 16 and distributed on 16, and then actually feature films were shot and distributed, or were distributed on 16 millimeter. So there's a variety of different things that kind of come together. And so these are some TV trailers. So these were shown, from the mid-70s, maybe, I'm not sure. These were commercials, short trailers. You know, when you go to a theater, a trailer might be 3 minutes. These are short. These are 30 seconds, 1 minute. And I have, like I said, a collection of these. Enjoy.
They were fighting for what they believed in. The conspirator, the patriot, the professor, the stripper, the hooker, the comic. They were fighting for what they believed in. Getting rich. Escape to Athena, rated PG.
You probably know just about everybody at Pacific High. Lori is tactful.
Daryl Fitzgerald.
Bobby is helpful.
I told him how much you liked him. How could you do this to me?
Christine is shy. And Kevin is subtle.
What I want to know is where's the motel room?
Don't you wish it was almost summer? Rated PG.
I wanted him more than anything else in the world, and I did everything to get him. Nothing else mattered to me.
The film Take All of Me takes love one step beyond anything you've ever seen before. Now you can see the complete uncut version of this totally revealing film, Take All of Me. Everyone's talking about Take All of Me. You will too.
Watership Down, with all the unforgettable characters from Richard Adams' best-selling novel. Watership Down is straightforward adventure, first-class family entertainment. A marvelous dream, as heroic as Star Wars. A work of art, one of the most delightful family films in years. From coast to coast, the critics are up on Watership Down, rated PG.
20th Century Fox presents A Perfect Couple.
How come it doesn't rain again?
Their first date was a washout.
This is Los Angeles. It never rains.
Their second was a knockout.
No!
It could only happen to a perfect couple.
I don't think you two should be kissing while I'm suturing.
Paul Dooley, Marta Heflin, A Perfect Couple. Rated PG.
It's Pinocchio's birthday party. The magic Storymobile takes you on adventures with Puss in Boots.
Who are you?
You'll meet the little drummer boy and a very ticklish giant. It's Pinocchio's birthday party, and you're invited. A new children's matinee from KTEL, rated G.
You are condemned to Deathsport.
In the year 3000, there are no Olympic Games, World Series, or Super Bowls. There is only Deathsport. David Carradine and Claudia Jennings are super warriors.
I am my only master.
Lovers, imprisoned and separated with only one chance for survival. Deathsport, rated R.
Deathsport. I gotta see that movie. It's such a great trailer, and I know it's gonna not be great, but man, it's so good. Also, I noticed that some of the comments that some of you caught the family entertainment that is Watership Down, and I know from previous conversations during some of my streaming events that kids got burned by that, the Watership Down. Like, oh, it's a bunch of bunnies, and then, oh no, it's horrifying film. Good film, but not family young entertainment. There's bunnies die in this film, and it's really scary. This next film. So I showed yesterday a film called Malika Palika Do Skip 2, which was my palate cleanser for all the depressing stuff that we watched yesterday, and it was a stop motion animation by this company Crocus Productions, which I believe are based in Chicago, and they did lots of educational films or kind of interesting films, and this next one is a bus safety film. And as we saw a couple of weeks ago, I showed Death Zones, which was a bus safety film, and it was pretty bleak. There was kids in harm's way shown in this film as a point to get a point across that kids can get hurt pretty seriously by buses or on buses. So this film is interesting in that it's trying to relay the same information, but it's using fictional creatures that are put in harm's way. So this is Shimodal Nightmare, and this is one of the few films that Crocus Productions did that I've seen that actually involves live action as well. I think there's another one, Peppercorns and on the playground. Anyways, Shimodal Nightmare. Enjoy.
Did you ever stop to think what a school bus driver's job is like? I think about it every day. A lot of important people depend on me. I carry the world's most valuable cargo, kids. In just a few minutes, I'll be picking up my friends, and will I be glad to have a normal day? Because last night, I had a bus driver's nightmare. Even on a real day, there are a lot of road hazards to watch for, and driving a big bus takes a lot of concentration. Sometimes the people who drive cars are in too much of a hurry and aren't cautious about children in school buses. That's why bus drivers and kids have to be so very careful and help watch out for each other. Oh, but I was talking about my nightmare. Here's how it started. The worst thing about my dream, Shimodals. Shimodals are the crazy passengers I had. Shimodals aren't anything like my friends, the kids. In my dream, I was taking them to school, but they weren't going to learn anything. They were just going to spend the day sitting in wastebaskets. The biggest problem with a Shimodal is that it just didn't know how to act on a school bus. And when a bunch of Shimodals who don't have any common sense ride on a bus, you've got danger. Take the way the Shimodals were waiting for the bus, for instance. They didn't seem to realize how dangerously close to cars they were. A bus stop isn't a playground, you know. Of course, being late made the Shimodals even less careful. Shimodals just don't know as much about school bus safety as do most kids. I told them to stay in their seats. As the dream went on, it became harder and harder to hear. It would have been impossible to notice a car's horn or hear a railroad warning bell. Even Officer Stein had to shout to be heard. He said, "Where are all those horrible Shimodals coming from? They don't even know how to look before crossing the street." They put things in the aisle and even ate on the bus. Not one knew any of the rules of safety. In an emergency, the first rule is to remain calm. We started with the emergency evacuation drill, so the Shimodals would know what to do in case of an accident. But as soon as I started to give the instructions, panic struck. Oh, thank goodness that was just a bad dream. I'm glad that I carry kids instead of Shimodals. At least kids know how to be on time and to wait for the bus in an orderly way. They stay out of the street and well away from traffic. They use the handrail. And they take their seats right away. They make sure the aisle is clear and keep their arms inside the bus. And you don't see my friends eating or drinking or starting horseplay. And when unexpected things happen, I can really concentrate on my driving because most kids do observe school bus safety rules. Well, here we are. Another safe trip. Nice kids sure make my job easier. Oh, I sure am glad it's kids I carry, not Shimodals.
Oh, Crocus Productions. I will definitely be showing some more Crocus Production films, and I discover new ones all the time, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so one last film, and I apologize to the person who is actually having a problem with their tooth. I saw that in the posting yesterday. They were asking, because they had a significant toothache, they were asking for something that was not depressing yesterday. And it was super depressing yesterday, so I apologize for that. But this film is about teeth from the, I believe, early 40s. Enjoy.
We use the foods. In this film, we find out how teeth develop and grow, which help to build strong teeth, and how the dentist cares for our teeth. A baby's first tooth is always an exciting event. It was, however, forming in baby's jaw even before he was born. 6 months before birth, soft tissue masses in the jaw begin forming the teeth. Gradually, the tooth shape develops, and the hardening process begins. At birth, the crown of the tooth is almost completely formed, and the root begins to develop. Even before the root is fully formed, the tooth pushes through the jaw and gum. The teeth gum one after another. These first teeth are called baby teeth. Enamel makes up the tooth's hard protective covering. Dentine, softer than the enamel, forms the body of the tooth. Cementum covers the root of the tooth, and the pulp is the soft center part which contains blood vessels and nerves. The four parts are enamel, dentine, cementum, and pulp. Now repeat these parts to yourselves. Enamel, dentine, cementum, and pulp. Before the baby was born, the first tooth gave off a bud that began forming a second or permanent tooth. It takes about 4 years for the enamel to develop fully. The root formation begins afterwards and is completed about 3 years later. Before the root is fully completed, the tooth pushes through to replace the first tooth. This is the second or permanent tooth. The permanent teeth appear in the following order in the lower jaw: first molars, central incisors, lateral incisors, cuspids, first bicuspids, second bicuspids, second molars, and finally the third molars or wisdom teeth. Remember, the baby teeth appear first, followed by the second or permanent teeth. The 6-year molars are usually the first permanent teeth. From the start, they should therefore be given special care. The small grooves or fissures on the grinding surfaces of the molars often are poorly formed. They are places where bacteria thrive. When the groove is deep, it allows bacteria and food particles to gather and start decay. Bacteria also find food particles and hiding places on the smooth surfaces between the teeth. It is hard to keep these places clean. In these places, the mucin in the saliva deposits a film or spongy substance. Within this film substance, certain acid-producing bacteria feed on sugars and starches. As these bacteria digest sugars and starches, they produce acids represented here as black dots. These acids dissolve the cementum, and pieces of enamel break away. The bacteria multiply, and the decay penetrates still further into the tooth. When decay is allowed to continue, large cavities result. When the decay enters the dentine, the nerve is soon affected. The tooth may now start to ache. Decay into the pulp of the tooth may lead to infection and loss of the tooth. Some foods are easily changed into acids by bacteria in the mouth, particularly foods made from white sugar or white flour. Therefore, We can help to prevent decay of our teeth by avoiding foods made from white sugar or white flour. Meals made up largely of whole wheat bread, leafy vegetables, fruits, and milk are always good, and especially for the teeth. Oranges, apples, tomatoes contain vitamin C. This vitamin helps to build strong teeth and keep the gums healthy. Milk is the best single food for a healthy body. It has calcium in large amounts and phosphorus. Mary visits her dentist twice a year. Dr. Davis examines Mary's teeth. He cleans, especially between the teeth and in irregular places. He cleans around the gum edges and on the smooth surfaces between the teeth. After scraping Mary's teeth, Dr. Davis polishes them. If he finds tiny decay spots, he fills the cavities immediately before the decay penetrates deep into the tooth. A local anesthetic can be used if the tooth is sensitive. Not even a dentist can clean the fissures. Dr. Davis fills the crevices before bacteria can start decay. Now, he shows Mary a good way to brush her teeth. First, clean the grinding surfaces, brushing back and forth, thus cleaning crevices and fissures of the molars. Next, with rotary strokes, brush the inside surfaces of the teeth, rotating from the gum over the teeth towards the biting surfaces. Now, brush the outer surfaces in the same manner. Take about 12 strokes on each place. The rotary strokes massage the gums and stimulate blood circulation that keeps gums healthy. The teeth should be brushed at least twice every day, morning and night. Teeth that have been neglected for a long time require painful and costly treatment. Many people suffer serious illnesses because of infection from bad teeth. Others lose much time from their work. Some must have teeth extracted because of neglect. Adults who have given teeth proper care have helped to preserve their teeth for many years. Many cities, counties, and schools have programs for dental care. Many cities have community health centers or special clinics where children may receive dental care if they cannot go to a dentist. In the clinic, the children are taught how to care for their teeth. The toothbrush drill is given by the dental hygienist. The X-ray machine takes pictures that show the inside of a tooth. Dentists study these X-rays to find decayed spots which they could not otherwise detect. They immediately take care of this decay to prevent further tooth destruction. Although the community, through its health program, strives for good health in all, still the main responsibility for healthy teeth depends on one of us. We must do three things. First, we must eat the proper foods. Second, we must clean our teeth every day. And third, visit the dentist regularly. Will you all read these rules aloud?
Did you read the rules aloud? I have quite a few dental hygiene films, of which I showed a wonderful musical one. Teeth are a good thing to have. There's another musical one I have. It's not as good. Then I have a Crocus Productions film that's a dental hygiene film that's really good. It's called Munchers, and I will show that probably next week. And somebody was talking about Soviet or Russian, how you brush your teeth. I actually have a Soviet dental hygiene film that I will dig up and try to show next week. There was somebody on YouTube from the Ukraine that was selling Soviet educational films, and they were very expensive, but I had to bite with the dental hygiene film, and so I actually got it, and it's great for a couple of reasons, and I will talk about that when I show it. Thanks everybody for tuning in today, and we'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Daylight Time, and we'll have a special guest. He will just talk about the one film that he's in, and it's Ghost Rider, R-I-D-E-R. He plays a young high school student who is on a school bus that happens to be haunted, and he learns about school bus safety before something horrible happens. And he'll be my live guest, and you'll be able to ask him questions via the comments, and he'll talk about his experiences being in the film. Just coincidentally, he lives in North Carolina, and I've met him a couple of times, and we have common friends. So if you like what you saw, you can go to avgeeks.com, which has lots of the shows that we've done over the last 6 weeks, including also other individual films that I haven't shown you. And you can also buy DVDs there. You can also donate at patreon.com, which is kind of like a subscription tip jar. So it's a place you can donate some money. And that money will go towards, I don't know, I haven't been on eBay recently, but I might get back on eBay. Because every once in a while I go there and look for stuff. And it's usually stuff I don't know that I'm looking for. I actually go to this site that shows films that have not been bid on, and I have found fascinating things on there, including that Soviet dental hygiene film. So that money will go towards that. Again, thanks so much. I enjoy showing these films to you and your comments and your eyeballs, and I will see you again tomorrow. Have a good rest of the day.